Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, your boy Obi-Wan Geoby, aka CritterBreeds. My name is Geopbyte, and today I thought we would try something different. We would try something unique, something fun for everyone. I thought that that today we would learn. Let's learn us some stuff. Live learning sessions. And today we're gonna make a script. We're gonna write a script, and we're gonna see if you guys can follow along. And yeah, so let's jump over to Second Life and get right to it. How about that? Okay, so we're here in Second Life, and I'm zooming around here. You can see the stream in the background there because we're streaming. Anyway, so you're going to want to right click, create, and it doesn't matter which shape you choose. There are lots of shapes. You can't really use trees and grass, but any of the other shapes is fine. I'm just going to use a box. And now we have this window here that's the properties of the box, and we have move, rotate, stretch, select face, align, edit linked parts, which we have no linked parts, so it wouldn't matter. Stretch both sides, stretch textures, snap. I'm not really sure what snap does. Just like align, I'm not sure how to use that. That's new stuff that is I never kept up with because I'm not much of a builder. Edit access at root show highlight, but if you uncheck show highlight, you won't be able to see what you're selecting. So we're going to leave that on. And then general is like the general basic stuff about the object. And then we have object, which is how you can change the shape and stuff like that, and features and stuff. But what we're going to concentrate on is the content tab and the general tab. That's what we're going to focus on. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to the content tab. Now, if you don't see this, I'm on Firestorm. Sometimes you'll open this up and it'll look like this and you won't have anything. There's this little tiny little arrow down that opens that up. So you want to make sure you know where that's at and how to get to it. So we're going to go to the content tab. Now in here we have new script, permissions, refresh, and reset scripts. The refresh was actually created by yours truly many years ago. It was added to the Phoenix viewer, and they've carried on and brought it with them to Firestorm. Anyway, we're going to click new script, and as you see in chat it says hello avatar, and we have a new script here. Right now it does pretty much nothing, but let's open it up and have a peek at what it looks like. We'll want to try and get it. Let's move our camera around just a little bit. Okay, so now we have the object in the view, and we have the script and the object properties panel. So if you're looking at the script, it's kind of confusing. A lot of squiggly lines, a lot of circle lines, and lots of words that may be confusing and maybe not so easy to understand. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through this. We have default, state entry, touch start, and then we have a couple says, LL says. Now what this is when the script starts in state entry, the script starts and it says hello avatar, which is exactly what it did when we clicked new script. It gave us this hello avatar in chat. So that's what that does. And then when you touch it, let me close the object properties. We'll open it back up in a minute. But what we're going to do is we're going to touch the cube. And you see it says touched, because right here we're telling it to say touched when we touch. So the way that I do scripts is I always just delete everything inside. And I do that because I want to start with a fresh script with nothing, and then we move on. So what we have to have is a default. And if you do this, you'll get used to typing these things, and you'll get used to remembering what you need. So we have default. Now, we have to have squiggly lines. I don't know what they're called. They're like little squiggly lines. They're squiggly lines. An open squiggly and a closed squiggly. And inside we have to have something, some form of an event, because this won't compile. See here, I'll show you. And compiling means that the script is working properly. And if it doesn't work properly, you'll see down here, line 3, character 0, error, syntax error. Don't worry about what that means. It's just telling us right now that the script is not complete. It's not a complete script. So what we're going to do is we're going to type state entry with an underscore, little circles. I don't know what they're called either. It's not that I'm dumb. I just not very good with grammar and stuff like that. So nothing goes inside of those circles for state entry. And then we're going to have another set of squigglies. Now, if we save this, it will save just fine. Now, this is a basic script that does absolutely nothing. It does nothing. There's no input, there's no output, but it is a working script. It does technically work because it compile successful, save complete. It does work. It is a legitimate script, but it's useless. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to need to do something with it, right? So let's go one line down. You always want to, okay, so default is everything in the script, right? For this tutorial, default is everything in our script. All of the events and everything like that. State entry is the event that happens when the script starts up. So we're going to go just outside of that, outside of the squiggly lines, and we are going to do touch start circles and our little squiggly lines to close that out. Now, we're going to save and watch what happens. We got a syntax error. The reason we got that syntax error is because what you want to do is inside of state entry, if you highlight, this is going to help you a lot. If you hover your mouse over a word or an item in a script, it will pop up a little pop-up that tells you a little bit about it. Like the state entry, it says state entry, and you see the circles are completely closed in, nothing there. And what you're going to want to look for is the state entry event occurs whenever a new state is entered, including at program start, and is always the first event handled. Okay, so it doesn't actually need anything, so it's fine to be closed in without anything. But if we look at touch start, integer, number of touches. This event is raised when a user first touches the object the script is attached to. The number of touches is passed to the script in the parameter. Information on those objects may be gathered via the LL detected library functions. Okay, so it's asking for an integer and a variable, basically. So what is an integer? We'll type it out. Integer. It's a number. It's a whole number. Anything from negative infinity to positive infinity, as long as there are no decimals with it. And we don't want to put like an integer like 12. Because if we do integer 12, see, we can't do that because 12 is an actual integer, and we can't have integer, so we have to give it a name, which is a variable. So we'll do x, integer x. And we'll click save. And it saves successfully, but just like with the state entry before, this script is, just because it compiles doesn't mean it's going to do anything or what you want it to do. See, so like we could have throw in some of those. It saves. There's something in there, but when we touch, it doesn't actually do anything. So there's some things we have to work with. So when we touch it, let's have it say LLSay, and we'll close it off with a circle, and then we'll have say hello world. Right? We'll just type in hello world and click save. But we get a syntax error. Now, here's the problem with Second Life's scripting compiler system, okay? It's IDE. It's not very intuitive. It doesn't actually tell you what your errors are. With C++, C#, even PHP is better, even though PHP still has like some major, it doesn't really tell you what you did wrong. But C++, C#, programs like that, and Swift even with Mac, you're gonna have, like, it's gonna tell you, here's where you messed up and here's what you did wrong. And so what we're looking at is we did something wrong here on line 8. So let's have a peek at what LLSay is. Void. Don't worry about what void means. That just means that it doesn't have a return value. Like some things will return information, but say does not return anything. And now if you look at it, it says it needs an integer channel and a string text. Okay, so let's give it a channel. It needs an integer channel, so let's just use 0. 0 is open chat. That's everything you see printed on your screen in world, except, whoa, we lost the camera. Anyway, it's everything you see listed in chat except for your IMs. Alright, so we have 0, we have hello world, so that's a string, right? So we'll click save. Still we're getting this error here at 22, which is going to be right here at hello world. And the reason we're having that done is because strings need to be enclosed with quotes. So we have that, say hello world. We're still getting a syntax error, and the reason is when you have a function, you have to put a little semicolon right there at the end of your function. So we click save, and it compiled successfully. Does it work? Of course it does. Okay, so basically it's only going to say hello world whenever someone touches it, but we don't want it to do that. We want it to be more intuitive, more because remember up here at touch start, it says that we can pull information with the detected keys. So what we're going to want to do is change hello world to LL detected. But what detected? It just said the detected library functions. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to highlight that. We're going to delete that. And then you see here insert, right here where it says line and column, where it tells you where you're at. Let's go here. And we're going to scroll through here. This is all the functions that Second Life is able to use. Functions, default values, events, everything you need to write a script is right here. So what we're going to look for is the LL detected functions, which start right here. And we're going to go down through here, and we're going to say the name of the person who touched. So I'm looking at LL detected name. And remember, all functions have a little circle. But does it need anything? Okay, integer number. Now here's where it's going to get interesting. So what we need to do is we need to tell it which touch. Do we want the fourth touch, the last touch, the first touch? Of course we want the first touch that the script detects. So we're going to use the number 0. I know you're thinking 1 would be better because it's the first, but actually in all reality, programming usually starts the list of things with the number 0. The very first thing is 0. So we'll save this. And when we touch, it says geopbyte resident. Now that's all fine and dandy. Alright, so, but it's just saying my name. It's not saying anything to me. So what we're going to want to do is, if you remember, we had hello world in quotes. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to change this to, we're going to put our quotes, and we're going to say hello, and then of course there's a space somewhere. So we'll save that. So hello, and there's our syntax error, and we hate syntax errors. And the reason we got this syntax error is because we're trying to combine this, and we have to actually add a plus sign because we're adding the name here to the hello output there. So we'll save that, and it'll save successfully and compile. And then when we touch, it'll say hello geopbyte. Okay, so let's go a little bit further and add another plus sign and add how are you. So now we're adding strings to both the front and the back of the detected name. Alright, so now we have hello geopbyte, how are you? So here we go. Now we have this. But what good is the script if I'm walking you through this and I'm showing you how to make something? It doesn't really do any good if what I'm teaching you has no real value and there's nothing you can use this script for. Okay, so a lot of people need keys for reasons. So what we're going to do is we're going to say on touch, hello, person who touched me. And then here we're going to change this to your key is. And now we need to add some more LL detected stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the LL detected key. I'm going to close that off. But remember, just like with the LL detected name, we had to put a 0 there. So we're going to want to do the same thing with a 0 there, because we want to make sure that it's the exact same person who touched and we got the name, we're getting their key as well. So we'll save that. And we get type mismatch. Now this is where sometimes Second Life helps you out. You get a type mismatch. And basically what that's saying is that this is a key, and if we remember, say has to have a string as the output, and because we're adding a key which isn't a string, even though it really is, and this is where it gets very annoying with Second Life, there should be automatic conversion of one type to the next depending on where it's being used. They don't have that, they should, but whatever. So what we need to do is we need to convert this to a string, and to do so we're going to actually just put a small circle there and type string. That tells whatever comes after this, the next bit of data is now being a string instead of whatever it was to begin with. And we'll click save. Save successfully, and we'll touch, and there's geopbyte and my key. I know a lot of people are scared about letting people know their keys, but it's totally there, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. And you can't do much with a key anyway. So now we have a working key getter, but no one knows that. So let's go back up to state entry. We'll go back up here to state entry. This is our event, state entry. And we're going to put some float text over top of it so that when people look at it, they can see the text and say, you know, this is what this prim is. So what we want to do is we want to scroll through here, and we want to find some set functions. Set text. Okay, so we're going to set text. But what does it need? We need a string, a vector color, and a float of opacity. So we're going to cover this. We already know what a string is. So the string is going to be touch to fetch your UID. Okay, so now we have text. But now we need a vector. What is a vector? Well, a vector could be a color, it could be a position, it could be the scale of an object or a person. And vectors are basically less than, greater than symbols with 3 numbers inside. Now, most everyone will be using, and technically it really is floats, but we haven't got to float yet, so we're going to use color values 1, 1, 1, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then we need another comma because we're breaking up into what we need, and it's asking for a float opacity, and we're just going to do 1.0 because a float is a number, not like an integer. It goes from negative infinity to positive infinity, but it has decimal point. So I think Second Life is capable of handling roughly 6 or 7 places after the decimal, but you really don't need that unless you're super fine-tuning something, and that's just crazy. So now when we save this, you're going to see a little bit of text pop up here if we did it right. And there it is. Touch to fetch your UID. touch is still working because everything is fine. But that text is white. What if you wanted your text to be, I don't know, black? Well, you do the opposite of 1, which is 0, 0, 0. And you save. And now it's black. So let's go back to 1 on that, and then 0, 1. What color do you think that'll give you? And let me explain what a vector is first. When it comes to color, a vector is red, green, blue. So you have red, green, and blue. The first number is red, the second number is green, and the third number is blue. And basically, the way that works is it tells the simulator, the viewer, the sim, the region, the color value. So I did 1 red, 1 blue, no green. And it's a purpley color. A very purpley color. Now you can go anywhere in between. You can do 0.5, comma, 0.635, comma, 0.21. I don't know what color that is. I'm going to assume it's going to be a yellowish color. Kind of yellowish green. Yeah, because it's slightly more green than red. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. And there goes my camera. Again. Okay, so now we have a working script that fetches our UUID when we touch. And we were able to cover states, events, functions, insert search, integers, strings, keys, typecasting, vectors, floats. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.